The colony at the edge of everything. The colony on Kepler 9d had no real name anymore. The settlers called it the Shelf, a narrow plateau of breathable air wedged between poisonous lowlands and a sky perpetually bruised with violent storms. 11,000 people. One power station. One aging comms relay that hadn't received a signal from Earth in 6 years. Commander Elias Voss stood at the observation window, watching the dust crawl across the plains below. He was 53, built like a man who had carried things, cargo, grief, other people's hope, for most of his life. Behind him, his second officer, Lieutenant Priya Mehta, pulled up the morning report on a cracked data slate. "They've breached the outer fence again," she said quietly. "Sector 7. Third time this week." Voss didn't turn from the window. "How many this time?" 40. Maybe 50. They dismantled the relay tower. Methodically. That was the word that chilled him. Methodically. The Vreth, as the colonists had named them, borrowing the Old Norse word for dread, were not animals. They were not invaders in the traditional sense. They were something older and more patient, beings of enormous silhouette that emerged from the lowland mists, disassembling human infrastructure piece by piece, as though erasing a mistake. The distress call nobody expected to answer. 2 years earlier, Voss had recorded the message himself, his voice flat and controlled, the way a man speaks when he no longer believes the words matter. "This is Kepler Colony 9 Delta. We are under sustained hostile pressure from indigenous life forms. Casualties, 112. Infrastructure at 40%. We are requesting immediate extraction or military support. We do not expect a response. We are transmitting regardless." He had sent it on every frequency. Into the dark. Into the silence that had swallowed every ship, every supply run, every promise Earth had made to the outer colonies. That silence had lasted 730 days. Until this morning. A signal from the deep. Priya nearly knocked over her coffee when the alert sounded. Not the dull amber of a routine ping, a hard, white, sustained tone. A response signal. Military band encryption, Class 1. She ran the decryption twice because she didn't trust her hands. "Kepler 9 Delta, this is Admiral Renata Solis, commanding the Allied Earth Armada, 1st Expeditionary Fleet. We received your transmission. All of them. We are inbound. ETA, 9 hours. Hold your ground. Earth has not forgotten you." Priya read it 3 times. Then she walked to Voss's quarters, knocked once, and slid the slate under the door without a word. She heard nothing for a long moment. Then she heard him laugh, a broken, disbelieving sound, for the first time in 2 years. 9 hours. They used every minute. Voss reorganized the civilians into the central hub. Priya rerouted power from the greenhouses to the perimeter lights, flooding the outer fence with blinding white. The Vreth hated light, not out of fear, the colonists had learned, but out of something closer to offense, as though brightness were an argument they refused to engage with. The attacks intensified through the night, as if the Vreth sensed the change in the air. 2 more towers fell. A storage depot was reduced to its skeleton. Voss stood at the perimeter with 31 armed colonists, farmers, engineers, a schoolteacher named Bram who shot with extraordinary calm, and they held the line. At hour 8, a child named Osa climbed the water tower and said she could see stars moving. They weren't stars. The Armada. They came in low and slow, deliberately visible. 47 warships dropping beneath the cloud layer in a formation so wide it swallowed the horizon. Running lights blazed amber and white. The engine roar arrived seconds after the sight, a wall of sound that moved through the chest like a second heartbeat. The Vreth stopped. In all the months of encroachment, all the silent, methodical dismantling, Voss had never seen them stop. They stood in the mist below Sector 7, massive and still, their silhouettes backlit by the descending fleet. Then, one by one, they receded into the lowlands. Without urgency. Without retreat. Simply, withdrawal. As though recalculating something vast. Admiral Solis's voice crackled over the open channel, as the lead ship's landing lights swept the plateau. "Commander Voss, we're coming down!" Voss lowered his rifle. Around him, people were crying. Bran the schoolteacher sat down in the dirt and put his face in his hands. Priya touched Voss's arm. "You didn't think anyone was coming!" He watched the ships descend through the violet sky, enormous and unhurried, each one a word in a sentence that said you were not forgotten. "No," he admitted. "I didn't." He exhaled for what felt like the first time in 2 years. Neither had they.